Hello, everyone. So, I skipped the news roundup last week because there wasn't a whole lot going on, and then a ton of stuff happened this week. So, now I've got a lot to talk about. So, let's get straight into it. And we're going to start with the new listings that we have for more Beast Wars reissues. And we pretty much knew some of these. K9 we knew was coming, and Terrorsaur we knew was coming. New to the list is, strangely enough, Iguanus. Now, TFW 2005 chose to use Transmetal 2 Iguanus's stat card in order to represent him. However, given the way that Beast Wars has been going for the reissues and Hasbro's own reluctance to do Transmetal again, I'm willing to bet this is actually the basic class one that's going to be sold at deluxe price point because that's what they do, which sucks, but it's just a thing that we have to deal with. So yeah, I'm expecting this just to be the basic one. But still, cool to know that they are more on the way. Like, every time I see them filling up shelves, I'm like, God, is this going to... How much longer is this going to continue? But apparently it's going to continue for a little bit. So good on it. Hopefully we get some, like, really cool reissued toys. Fingers crossed for a Magna Boss that doesn't fall apart. But yeah, cool that we got Iguanus. But speaking of, we got Terrorsaur In-Hand shots. And it is a straight-up reissue of the original. It is not attempting to be more show-accurate or more to what fans know, the way Tigatron was. It is the original. Purple helmet and green spots and all. It's actually a really good thing. It's one of the toys that has just not had any reissue since its original form. So to get it back now in its, in its original toy colors is perfect. It's just a straight-up reissue. It's one of the few Beast Wars toys I don't have because those basics got super expensive. So really, really cool that I'm going to get to add this to my Beast Wars collection, even if it's a reissue. I think it's still a really cool one to go with. They reused this for Age of Extinction as one of the random strafe toys. So hopefully the mold still holds up after so many years. Alright, we're going to continue on Beast Wars because Beast Wars actually got a Monopoly set released. It's already in stock in Australia. No announcement for a US release just yet, but I can't imagine it's far off. It's basically one of the gimmicky Monopolies. It's not a full-size Monopoly game. You'll see that every color only has 2 properties, so there's not as many spaces to go around. There are different elements to it, like energon crystals and cubes instead of houses and hotels. There's protoforms to collect. Yep, and the golden disc is involved somehow. So there's a lot going on in here that doesn't happen in a normal Monopoly game, and it's kind of indicative of all their licensed and specialty Monopoly sets. I think the big thing here is that the figurines that they come with, you actually get quite a few because it's 4 Maximals and 3 Predacons from the looks of it. I can just make out Primal, Rat Trap, Cheetor, and Dinobot, and then Megatron, what looks like Tarantulas, and then I can't tell who the last one is. It's a really weird shape. I'm thinking Waspinator, could be wrong. There's no better picture of these, so just kind of shooting in the dark on that one. But still, kind of cool that Beast Wars is getting a little bit of board game love. I could probably just look at the freaking box and realize that not only is it Waspinator, but it's also Black Arachnia, technically. All right. I could just look. I could just be observant. It's not like I'm a reviewer of any kind. So, sticking on Beast Wars, one last story for Beast Wars. We got new Legacy. Remember how I said that Legacy when new toy listings start hitting computers, that there's always a few more that trickle in after the first big dump? Well, here's an example of that. We found out that basically all of the Legacy Leader Class figures are getting a packaging refresh for Year 2. So whatever Legacy Year 2 is named, we are getting Laser Optimus and Blitzwing again, so if you're having trouble finding them, don't worry. You're going to get more opportunities. And the Leader Megatron is going to be the same way. The first listing in Legacy Year 1 is for Dragon Megatron, and Legacy Year 2 lists Metal Megatron. So, and we do know the PR means package refresh, so we know it is a re-release of a toy. But between the two, it basically does absolutely confirm that we are getting Transmetal 2 Dragon Megatron as a leader class toy. And what form that will take, will it have chrome on it? Will it be like what I think I'm begging is just metallic paint that does not chip and crack and flake all over the place? Please, it's just that simple, Hasbro. Just make the paint metallic. It'll still look good. It'll still look like Transmetal. But it's still, if there's the only thing that's like upsetting about the listing is the fact that it does mean that a lot of leaders next year are going to be leaders that we've already got this year, which is a little bit disheartening. Hopefully that is just space filler and that Legacy Year 2 has some really cool leader class toys. Fingers crossed. All right, so speaking of upcoming toys, we got a packaging shot of the next Target Buzzworthy Bumblebee 4-pack. And before I he had so many different figures coming out of so ones, I really genuinely lost track of which 4 toys were in this box set. So now we have it in front of me, and I just now realized that it's all bug themed. So at least unlike the Worlds Collide set, which I still have not gotten, I never found it anywhere. All I found were tags on shelves, and the shelves are always empty, and I know they never got them in around here. Unlike that set, which seemed completely random, this one has a very identified bug theme. Even Autobot Goldbug is a bug. So yeah, it's a super cool art. Goldbug is way outnumbered here. We got a shot of the back too, showing off everybody. What was originally listed as Parasite is now Sky Wasp, which is a brilliant rename because not only is it 1 letter off from Sky Warp, which he looks like, it is literally 1 letter off. We've changed the R to an S. Simple, brilliant. And Goldbug is, I think we hadn't seen Goldbug to this point, so it's really nice to see that it is the Netflix Volkswagen, the proper Volkswagen Beetle alt mode that was locked in as a Walmart exclusive. Now it seems like they're free up to use it elsewhere, so now it's a Target exclusive. Cool to see. Gives us hope for things like the Netflix Soundwave getting free soon and being able to be reissued and repainted at will. Speaking of that Goldbug, we do have in-hand shots of it now, so we get a nice close-up look. It looks like just about everything in the vehicle mode has been painted a lovely shade of gold. And there's a dull gold being used for his inner parts, all the palm plastic stuff. It's not swirly, it's not metallic, it's just gold-ish. So it is going to be fine over time. And it's featuring the same head as the Shattered Glass toy. We've already seen that one. So a mix of elements to create Goldbug, and he looks all of the proper throttle bot he should be. He's got the same old cannon that all of them have gotten, whether that's in character or not. I do think they've done a good job of presenting it in a way where it definitely stands out from Bumblebee. You know, it definitely, like, it has a different profile to it that looks really good. And yeah, even in vehicle mode, they do have a pretty significant difference between the two. I do prefer the painted metallic windows on the Netflix one, of course I do. But it also came with in-hand shots of all the others. Now, we've seen some of these before. We've seen Ransack, for instance, so nothing too shocking there. And then we got the toy-accurate Scorponok. The revelation here, and this is the really cool part, alternate heads. And, yeah, so all you do, yeah, pop them on, pop them off. Like, just like any other, like a Figuart or a Figma or any other release, any other, like, toy line that you know of, where alternate heads is pretty common. You know, Marvel Legends, I think, is the easy one. To my knowledge, I'm trying to think. Outside of mutant head gimmicks, I don't think they've ever done this. Masterpiece toys have swappable faces, but swappable heads is something I don't think I've ever seen at retail level, which it's incredibly cool that they're finally getting in on things like this, because this is a really cool option. You know, if we look at Sky Wasp, for instance, there's the Parasite head. That's actually like the Waruder figure. However, I think he looks way cooler with the robot head. I actually really like how this looks. So, hopefully this pack is easier to get than the last pack, because if I get it, I'm definitely keeping him like that. Now, that looks really, really cool. So that's the 4-pack. Hopefully it's easier to get than Worlds Collide was. I heard it's like clogging down in Australia now. I heard it's all over the place there. So maybe there's some hope of actually getting a hold of one without, like, losing my mind. Alright, speaking of losing my head, we have new shots of Minerva. We finally got to see the rumored Walgreens exclusive, and as expected, it is a lovely redeco and remold of Legacy Elita 1. And yeah, it looks really, really nice. The vehicle mode, it's not accurate, of course, because it's going for that weird, like, dome dune buggy thing. I do like that they've swapped out the fake Elita 1 head sticking out the top for a light bar. So it does actually look like some kind of emergency vehicle. And we can see the comparison shot between the two. It's a pretty simple redeco. There's a lot of paint apps that remain the same. The color place, there's not a whole lot new that's been changed up. Yeah, so they look pretty similar to each other. But the white, like this, such a stark change. It's definitely helping them, and it still looks quite a bit like Minerva. Like, I'm not like sliding it for that. It still looks the part. There is no headmaster functionality. She is not a Titan Master of any kind. It is just a solid noggin. She has lost her headmaster in it gimmick, which is not a terrible loss, I feel like. And mostly because I'm, like, more interested in the character rather than the gimmick. And, you know, as much as I like Titan Masters, it's not bad to have a head that has, like, full articulation range without that weird, like, you know, like, disconnect and weird socket fit that the Titan's Return had. So I don't mind that it took till now. Just don't expect a Night Beat paint job from this one. You never know. There might be a Selects version, because that was the whole thing. In Japan, it was Minerva Night Beat version. Like, it was still technically Minerva, even though it was Night Beat colors. Weird how it works, but it actually does mean there's a little bit of room for this to become yellow and blue someday. So that might be interesting. All right, we got brand new shots for Transformers Prime Red. And showing off the brand new packaging style, Hasbro has been getting all of the plastic out of their packaging. So now we have these very solid closed boxes for Transformers Red, showing off artwork rather than the actual figure. I've spoken my piece about closed packaging. I understand that they're trying to get rid of plastic waste, and that's fine. I also feel like it is a cost-cutting maneuver, because these boxes are far more simple and more cost-effective to make. And I think it's being disguised as environmental movement rather than just, you know, the boxes are cheaper now. Besides the point, the toy inside is really, really nice looking. This is what Red needs to be for, to produce figures that would otherwise be really, really hard to make transforming figures for today. And Transformers Prime characters are, excuse the pun, prime for that. So you can see he gets the Matrix of Leadership, which none of the toys that I remember actually featured. Battle Mask, so he does have a swappable head. So this is the exception. Red doesn't count, because it's just purely action figure. I meant transforming figures with swappable heads. You knew what I meant. But he gets his arm blades, he gets his arm cannon, he gets a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, it does look really, really good if you want a Transformers Prime action figure. And yeah, you can just see, it's just going to be a cardboard tray with everything wrapped up in paper, the same way they've been doing with those smaller scale Power Ranger Megazord toys. Megatron, also on display here, also with a solid box. So, yeah, likewise, he looks really, really good. Alternate hands, energon effects, blast effects, gets his sword. Yeah, this is looking spectacular. Yeah, really, really nice. If I knew that they were producing more of the Prime cast, I might be down for this. This is where I really wish they had focused on Prime rather than scattering it about. I've got RC. I haven't found Knockout yet. So if I got these two, I would probably be after, like, I guess Ratchet and Starscream would be the next duo. I don't know how you do Bulkhead in this line. He's too big. But yeah, if this was more... if this was the direction that I knew they were going in, for sure, I might be a little bit more willing to give it a shot. So, they look good. They look good. But speaking of new packaging, Over in Japan, we got shots of the new Studio Series packaging, which is, again, closed box, environmentally friendly, and showing off really big, vibrant character art right on the front. There is no indication that this is actually going to be a thing in America. As you can see, there's no Hasbro logo anywhere on the box, at least from the front. It is just Takara Tomy. And Wheeljack in particular was just re-released as part of the recent wave with Ironhide and RC, and it is a packaging refresh because the first release had a plastic window. This one, the second release does not. It's an open box, but it has no plastic window. So I don't foresee this being a thing in America. I think this is just going to be happening in Japan, which is kind of amazing to me that Studio Series has gone on for so long without any kind of real packaging change, that this is just like a stark contrast to see. This is weird, you know, to actually see a different style to the Studio Series packaging after almost 100 releases. Kind of incredible that they've gone that long without having to like change up their look or refresh their design. This might be a thing. This might be a thing coming to the West, like we saw with the R.E.D figures. They're trying to get solid boxes to be a thing. We will see. I don't really foresee it just yet, but this might be an indication of where we're going. All right, so off in Taiwan, someone already spotted the Hiss Tank Megatron out on the shelves, which is kind of astonishing because it's not supposed to be out until January. So if you got a pre-order and you're kind of like hum-hawing it like I am and trying to decide if you actually want it or not, keep an eye on your pre-orders. They might be filling a lot faster than we expected. And that is a big hit that is going to come down if it's by surprise. So keep on the alert. But while we are talking about this, we do have in-hand shots of it now. And this might sway you if you are like me and you are debating if you want to keep a pre-order for this. So yeah, it's a decent little Hiss tank in alternate mode. You can see how big it is roughly with Baroness in the cockpit and the hand in the shot. Baroness is a full 3 3/4 inch figure, traditional G.I. Joe size, comes individually packaged in the box for the collectors who just want that Baroness on card. So kind of cool that they allow you to do that. So there you go. So the big thing here is Megatron himself, and we've gone over this multiple times on this channel, is not the best engineered figure. I do like how well integrated the G.I. Joe play pattern is, but we do actually acknowledge that Megatron himself is made up of a lot of kibble hanging off of his body without much integration into the vehicle mode himself. We also get a shot here of a few potential problems with the toy. You can see the thighs are hollowed out, the underside of the arms are hollowed out, the inside of the biceps are hollowed out. This toy has been gutted in many places in order to get the plastic quantity down because of the size of the toy, because it has to be 3 3/4 inch compatible. But it does look like it has taken quite the toll on this toy physically. From in-hand reports, I've also heard that it does not have ratcheted joints despite how heavy a lot of these parts are. So I'm not totally confident in how long this toy is going to hold up. And then we get to the back shots, which I think Hasbro has been reluctant to show off. And you can see, just look at that. You can see just how bad the kibble is on this toy. That's a massive, that's like half the vehicle just hanging straight out the back. And the cockpit just hanging down. Like it might just be loose on this copy and you can clip it in and fold it in. But man, is it an ugly look. It's a really ugly look and a really unfortunate look. We knew that basically Megatron was just wearing the alt mode and would just kind of tuck up into it instead of actually transforming. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought all the bulk would have laid flat against the back at least and not stick straight out like that. That's going to be a nightmare to stick on a shelf. You can see like the toy is so unintegrated, you can just leave Megatron's head out in the back of the vehicle mode. It's going to be a one-of-a-kind figure. Even like Bumblebee is not done the same way. And yeah, it is going to be a landmark figure for G.I. Joe and Transformer collectors. God, it just seems like it was done so badly, though. man, I really want to keep my pre-order just for the sake of what it is. But it's just the execution is so lacking. I don't know if I can bring myself to keep such an expensive pre-order. Oh well. All right. So, minor one here. This is the Terrorcon insignia for Rise of the Beast. Hasbro has officially trademarked it. I cannot wait for years of people to ask me why my logo looks like the Terrorcon logo, even though my logo came like, at that point will be like 15 years beforehand. It's just coincidental. It'll kind of replace everyone who says that it looks like the Maximal symbol. I guess that's the trade-off. But yeah, just in case you hadn't seen it, we have one more faction symbol on top of like 100 others to keep track of. We have a listing for a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive for about $109.99. This is basically just reaffirming that Hasbro is returning to Comic-Con this year. They are going to have a select offering. It is a figure set because we have a plural here. So let speculation begin. It has to cost $110, so it might be a multi-pack. It might be some big metallic version of like a Commander class figure, something like a Jetfire with extra parts or something. Or it could be another repaint of G1 Constructicons. Who knows these days? But expect a Comic-Con exclusive this time. It's been a while since we've had to deal with one. We have a brand new helmet replica. This time it is Soundwave. And I haven't shown off like normally I would start with one of the photos up like that, but I want to see the listing of the sound effects that it comes with and all of these little quotes. It does have LED flashing eyes, a lot of internal details, but it does include these quotes. Megatron, what are your orders? My sensors indicate we are no longer alone. Autobots detected. All talk, no shock. As you command, Megatron. The last two, I think you have to have. All talk and no shock is a great retort to Blaster. As you command, Megatron is probably his most common line. I think the second two are redundant. Autobots detected. I feel like one of those could have been replaced with some version of, Soundwave Superior. You can't do the actual line because he's talking to Constructicons, so it'd be a little bit out of context. But I don't know. It's not a bad sound list. And the head does look nice. You can see they've gone with a weathered paint job. You can see like there's different color tones and shades to it, which actually works really, really well. The inside is nicely detailed. Interestingly enough, they even felt the need to paint some of the details on the inside of the head. Little blemishes from production. I can't think of a Transformer who I like enough that I would want their severed head as part of my collection. Just for how much space helmets take up. I used to have like the Red Ranger helmet that Bandai did. It's just so freaking huge. Like helmet toys are so freaking huge. There's just no rhyme or reason for actually like having them around. At least for me. So yeah, it's cool, but like I still do not know the Transformer that I would want a helmet toy of. So I will spectate and be happy for those who really want it. There is one toy that I would probably accept as just a head, though, because it is in character for him. So, just to round us off for something weird and amusing for this episode, we have the announcement that for San Diego Comic-Con, we are getting a limited edition 10-inch tall Unicron Funko Pop. It is ridiculous. The Planet Destroyer himself, the Chaos Bringer, reduced to the most cute collectible form he could possibly be made in. Yeah, this is just hilarious to me. So, if they just wanted to take the head off of this and remold it into like the damaged version from Season 3, I would buy that just as like a 6-inch pop thing. This, I am admittedly curious about. We do confirm that it is going to be a GameStop shared exclusive as well. So your Comic-Con one's going to have a special sticker that will probably make it worth about 50% more than the GameStop version. But if this is anything like the GameStop Soundwave one they did at 10-inch, it's probably not going to be too hard to find after the fact. So just keep an eye out. This will be available at some point. And for Funko collectors, yeah. And, it's just a weird one to end off on. So that's going to be the news roundup. I was going to make a joke that this was going to go 25 minutes as my clock now reads 25 minutes on the dot. I try to make it quick, but man, we had a lot of news stories to go through. So, yeah, thank you for watching this far. Thank you for catching up on the news with me, and stick around. I've got, as always, a whole bunch more videos to do. So thank you guys for watching and supporting. Especially thank you to my patrons who make the show possible. And yeah, thank you for your continued support. It means the world to me. And I will see you next time. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.